Hello, you are listening to the OmniTalk Fast 5, brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Firework, SPS Commerce, and Sezzle. Ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally, the OmniTalk Fast 5 podcast is the podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, a little happier each week, too. Today is March 2nd, 2023. I'm your host, Ann Mazinga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are here once again to discuss all the headlines making waves in the world of omnichannel retailing. Chris,
yes,
did you notice that there's a new sponsor in the intro?
Yes, I did, Ann.
Yes.
SPS Commerce, shout out to them.
I know, excited
Love
to
those
have them
guys.
on board. We had a great event last week, so make sure, or earlier this week.
Yeah, like 2 days ago, Ann.
Chris and I we're coming back.
You're a little lagged.
Both of us have been traveling.
lagged,
You
yeah.
were up north. I was in Palm Springs for e-tail. We're getting our stuff together. We don't really know what day of the week it is, but yes.
Yeah, you were at Ecommerce West. Heard it was a pretty raucous conference.
Yeah,
Lots of
there was
retailers there.
Tons of people there.
Good
Yeah.
OmniTalk showing, holding down the fort on your own solo.
It was a lot.
You were
Chris.
like free solo of the LinkedIn retail influencing.
Yes. Jason Goldberg was giving me a hard time. He's like, all Chris does is carry the gear, right? So how are you?
Pretty much true.
I said,
Yeah.
that and a lot more. This is not my favorite thing to do independently.
Yeah, solo's tough. The solo thing's the hardest thing to do in this business. But I was in my seventh circle of hell, Ann. That's where I was. I was up north. The kids had this like day camp thing that's
what we do in Minnesota.
For 2 nights, the school took them up there. I was the adult chaperone, which that's not a good idea. But it was me and 8 other people in bunk beds. It was the hottest I've ever been in my life. It was terrible. It was
the hottest.
It was so hot. Like it's a long story, but the heat wasn't working, and I was on the top bunk, and it was like a vinyl mattress. I was stripped down, like on a vinyl, disgusting mattress that probably thousands of kids have slept on and God knows what else. And I was just dying. It was worse than Madrid's heat, and that's how bad how hot it was. But anyway.
You guys didn't do that probably in Arizona.
No.
That was not like in Arizona.
No.
This is a very traditional growing up in Minnesota. They want you to have like the Northwoods experience, like environmental learning. It's part of the culture, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing and a tradition.
Yeah,
that
in Arizona, we'd
continue.
go look at Gila monsters or something like that.
Ooh,
I don't know.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, not really. All right, before we get to today's headlines, we want you to know that tomorrow is actually the registration deadline for Shoptalk. And remember, your ticket to Shoptalk gets you access to Meetup, Shoptalk's new meetings experience, where you'll have the opportunity to connect with any one of the 10,000, Ann.
I know.
10,000
I mean,
attendees
everybody
coming
at
to
e-tail
Shoptalk.
was like, see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, we just got done with the podcast saying, guy asked us, he's like, are you going to Shoptalk? We're like, yeah. They're referring it to the whole thing as what they're calling, quote, engineered serendipity. I love that. It sounds pretty cool. Some of the companies confirmed to attend are Amazon, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, PepsiCo, Costco, Bloomingdale's, Instacart, Google, and thousands more. Of course, if there's 10,000 people coming.
Yes.
On top of that, you'll get to hear from over 275 C-level and senior level speakers from the biggest retailers, brands, and tech, and 650 sponsors like Meta, Shopify, Adobe, Salesforce, and Klarna. You might even see Ann on stage twice as well.
Yeah. DoorDash and Meta, Savage by Fenty, and
a hell of a lineup. I'm kind of jealous of your lineup.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't know. I got some good ones though.
And don't forget, but my favorite part, Ann, Shoptalk is also known for their epic beach party concerts, with Flo Rida performing last year, and this year is headlined by none other than Nelly. So you definitely don't want to miss that. The Meetup deadline is again tomorrow. Be sure to get your tickets today at shoptalk.com/US/OmniTalk. That's shoptalk.com/US/OmniTalk. We will see you there in just a little over 3 weeks now, right?
It's going to be here before we know it. Just like get your stuff together.
22 days, 23
days. Do the
days.
thing. Book the hotel room if you still can find one in Vegas with 10,000 people attending.
Yeah, it's actually that's actually the hardest part right now. Yeah, for sure. All right, in today's Fast Five, we've got news on Kohl's mulling a change in its pricing strategy, Amazon going big after same-day delivery, Instacart announcing a slew of new omnichannel solutions, Men's Warehouse's new Prom Your Way initiative. We're going way back in the Wayback Machine for that one, Ann. But we begin today with more earnings news. Ann.
That's right. Headline number 1, Chris, after covering Walmart and Home Depot's earnings last week, we thought, why not send Target a little love this week?
Why not?
And talk about what they reported. So according to Yahoo Finance, Target saw same-store sales increase by 0.7%, which was higher than Wall Street estimates of a drop of 1.74%.
Right. Good decimal reading.
Thank you. I pride myself on my decimal reading.
I had a boss one time that was always like, always round it up. Never give me the decimals. I was like, Jesus, all right, dude.
Oh,
You're
gosh.
kind of intense. But
Yow.
that really happened to me, I swear to God.
Ugh. All right. Similar to Walmart's results, consumer spending at Target also seemed to shift to essentials like food and away from categories like electronics, home, and apparel. One other item of note, at the end of Q4, inventory was 3% lower than in 2021, and particularly in those discretionary categories like electronics, home, and apparel. Inventory there was nearly 13% lower than 2021. Chris, what are your thoughts here on the Target earnings real quick?
Oh, man. Yeah, this one will probably take pretty quick. But, there's a few notes for me. One, I think macro level, I'm sticking to my guns that the earnings reports going forward in the second and third quarters are going to be even worse across retail.
Yeah.
Because I read through the earnings report pretty quickly yesterday, but I did scan it pretty well. And there were a ton of references to increased SG&A for the balance of the year, similar to what we saw from Home Depot. So that was one takeaway. The second one for me is, and you have to read the earnings reports for this, and it's starting to come out today in the news a little bit, but I love the national rollout of drive-up returns, Ann.
Yeah.
They're expecting to do it. They said they're going to go national with it by 2023 or during the course of this year. And so I love that. It takes the reverse logistics costs out of the equation, similar to what curbside pickup does in reducing last mile costs. So I got to think about it. I'm like, kudos to Target for being out in front of this. You don't have to recreate the wheel on solving that problem.
Right.
Like, you can kind of do it with your stores as your asset again with just a slight pivot on something that you're already asking your customers to do. So I love that. And then my last point I would make would be the inventories to me still seem a little out of whack.
Okay, how so?
Well, you quoted them above, and they seem low to me given inflation relative to 2021. And especially when I think that gross margins are also, as I read, about 500 basis points lower than in 2019. So it tells me that there could be some clearance activity that helped goose the sales numbers slightly and get the inventories to that level. And I'm also wondering if they're a little low. And so it could still mean some pressure here ahead in the year as, they start to anniversary inflation in food categories as well. So that was the one thing that stuck out to me. I didn't have enough information to know, but, just something that caught my attention.
Yeah.
What'd you think, though?
I love the curbside returns.
I figured you did.
I hope, however, my curbside returns experience was not good at Target when I tried it.
Oh, you tried it?
Yeah, I tried this back, it was, in December when they were just piloting it at a few stores.
That's right. It wasn't even video shoot worthy, right?
No,
you couldn't even shoot it.
It was very much not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of logistics that to hear that they're rolling it out to every store, that they're rolling it out, as much as they are, is somewhat concerning to me because you really want people to nail that experience, and it was not the same.
What were some of the issues?
Well,
one or two.
Well, for example, the woman bringing I did a return and I did a pickup order in the same thing.
Transaction.
She brought out my item, but then she did not have a printer. She needed a printer to print a receipt for me, which seemed ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I ended up waiting 45 minutes in the car and had to go in and then figure out how to do my return.
Man.
So it was.
That's rough.
It still needed a lot of work.
Though, too.
Early
maybe
stages, for
maybe
sure.
they've ironed some of those kinks out. Yeah.
Hoping that they do, though, because I think that's going to be important. I think they alluded to again that they're building more sortation centers to get closer to the customers. But Chris, my real disappointment here is we're still not hearing about any other tech R&D that's happening at Target. I feel like if you compare it to Amazon, to Walmart, there just doesn't feel like there's a lot of experimentation going. It's still focusing on building new brands, and Target
they did
knows
hit
what
the
they're
build
doing.
the brand things again. They hit the.
What are you gonna do with 10 new brands? What about?
Right.
I think you're right. Where it's the earnings reports are going to continue to come in and not look great for the next 2 quarters. But then Target, where is the conversation? I want PR from Target coming out we're piloting this thing or we're testing this thing. There's no innovation happening in the shopping experience outside of the curbside returns, which is a big deal. But I still feel like there's something missing for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the part of me though is that's Target, right? Target, that's the Minnesota roots.
I know, but it's just
we're gonna go with what brung us. We're just gonna do it a little bit better each and every day. We're not gonna step out and be completely innovative and
I worry though.
on
I
the
worry
technology side of things. You worry about it.
I
though,
worry
yeah.
about the future of the brand for that reason. It's concerning. But let's
they're
move
still doing it from a very large position of strength. That's the one point I would
Correct.
add that goes in their favor. All right, headline number 2. According to Retail Dive, I can't wait to talk about this actually, Ann. Kohl's also reported this week that Q4 net sales fell 7.2%.
Thank you. I appreciate
year
the
over
point.
year to $5.8 billion, with comparable sales down 6.6%. And gross margins contracted also a whopping 1,116 basis points, falling to 23% overall. That's a big drop. But perhaps most interesting, new CEO Tom Kingsbury said that the company is also reevaluating its pricing strategy. Quote, "We know that our promotional strategy at times can be a disadvantage to Kohl's when compared to our competitors' price-focused strategies. We will test everyday value pricing with a small percentage of our product assortment and, if successful, grow it appropriately in subsequent years. We fully recognize the sensitivities around pricing with our customers and will approach this with great measure and flexibility." End quote. That was CEO Tom Kingsbury. And
Yes.
do you think Mr. Kingsbury is right to muck around with Kohl's pricing formula? I'm curious.
Oh,
What's
God,
your take
no.
here? Yes.
Not
I
at all.
totally 100% agree.
I mean, I
100%.
loved. This was in Retail Dive, right? That's I think where we were talking
Yes,
about this.
yes.
Yeah, and Daphne, the writer, was comparing this to JCPenney, and that's immediately what I thought of.
Yep.
Like, how many friends do we have from Target that followed
Right.
all the team down to JCPenney
Bought the
because
hype?
Ron Johnson
Yeah, right.
was taking over and he was gonna change the way he was gonna get rid of discounts. And to me, it's just
right.
like, dude, your JCPenney, or in this case Kohl's, your core is that's why they shop you,
Yep.
is because of the discounting strategy. Like, you take that away from them and it's just like psychologically they're gonna feel like they're not getting the deal.
100%.
And he does talk about like, we're keeping Kohl's cash and all the other stuff, but like, if they don't see those discounted pricing or sale like when they walk in the door,
Right.
like, no, they're gonna abandon. They're gonna go to competitors who are selling things, even if the price is lower. I think that what Kohl's needs to do.
you're going to go to Kohl's needs to do?
I do.
All right, I'm
I
going to do
think-
that too, actually.
I think the smart thing that he talks about is their investments in inventory management, creating a more convenient shopping experience, like all of these things that they can do, including the Sephora. Like, he talks about expanding Sephora to as many stores as possible, which is the absolute smart thing to do. The funny thing that I thought about here is he talks about how jewelry sales are being impacted because they're putting Sephoras in where the jewelry department was.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, give me a break.
Yeah,
like,
right.
how often do you buy a piece of jewelry? Like, key holidays,
Right.
maybe a birthday, but like,
Right.
Sephora is daily use products.
Yeah.
Daily use products
Yeah,
that
that-
are getting a new customer in your door. Like, that's what you got to focus on. Make it more convenient. Get better, like, delivered a promise to customers because you have better inventory accuracy. You can save sales. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so you're not down with this.
No.
No, I think you're right. And a lot of what you're saying is table stakes in a lot of ways too. That's the funny thing. And so I'm not sure that it necessarily helps the flailing business model, which we talked about a lot.
Right.
But I 100% agree with you. I think it's a freaking horrible idea. I'll just go out and say that. Like, in fact, I don't even think it can be done. And the reference point would be JCPenney's. It may be what it may be what you need, honestly.
Yeah.
And I've talked about that. I've written about that in Forbes. Like, this has been a problem for them for a long time, particularly when you start talking about online competition, where online transparency of pricing is so important.
Yeah.
You can't put all these crazy ass discounts and close cash to that. It makes it difficult to operate. But it's going to alienate your base.
Yeah.
It's going to alienate your base. My mother-in-law Marge
Yeah.
will not know what to do. Like, she'll
Yeah.
walk into Kohl's, she'll be totally overwhelmed and probably walk out. I have no idea, but that's my hunch. And so you're not going to be able to sustain it given the loss of your core customer.
Yeah.
The smarter move, and I've said this for 5 or 6 years now, the smarter move would be for Kohl's to develop a new brand or a new store concept that it can be doing that leverages the economies of skills that other upstarts can't do. So you talk about things like the product sourcing it has under their label, the marketing, the back office activities, all those things. And the aim of that new concept should be to disrupt Kohl's itself, to create a better version of the department store. So here's an idea: make a smaller version of Target, make a better, smaller version of Target with better price transparency. My question for you, Ann, is why the hell haven't we seen an Amazon Go inside of Kohl's?
I don't know.
What is preventing that? Amazon can't get physical stores right, which we're going to talk about in the next headline.
Right.
Kohl's can't seem to get out of its own way on anything. You've already got the relationship with returns. Why the hell hasn't that happened?
I don't know.
Like, that's so easy to do.
I don't know.
So easy to do.
Yeah, it would. And yeah, it makes sense, especially again, like it's another convenience factor that could bring in a new customer that cares about that wants that convenience. And they have how many locations?
You do that test in like a few stores. And here's the other thing. But changing your pricing strategy, terrible move. Burlington Tom, that's your new name on this show. Burlington Tom, because that's where you came from. And of course it's what you're going to do because it's what you know.
Yeah.
It's your heritage.
Right.
And that's the problem in the hire that I've had from the beginning. All right, rant over.
All right, let's go to headline number 3, Chris. Bring the blood pressure down a little bit. Amazon is planning to invest even more in ultra-fast delivery. So according to the Wall Street Journal, the tech giant is continuing to, quote, devote resources to facilities and services structured to deliver packages to customers in less than a day, end quote. A core feature of Amazon's plan is what it calls same-day sites. According to the Journal, these same-day sites are a fraction of the size of Amazon's larger fulfillment warehouses and are designed to prepare products for immediate delivery. To date, Amazon has opened about 45 of the smaller sites since 2019 and could expand to at least 150 centers in the next several years, according to MWPVL International.
That's a hell of a lot of letters.
Sure is, which tracks Amazon warehouse operations. It should also be noted that Amazon ultra-fast deliveries can arrive in a matter of hours and that Amazon currently charges its Prime subscription service members a service fee of $2.99 per order for the service if they don't meet the $25 threshold. Chris?
Yes.
When I do that, you always know what's
I
coming.
do. You kind of tip it off. It's like your tell. It's your Oreo tell from.
I know. I figured out
Rounders.
what that is.
You did.
Yeah,
Good. I got a lot of comments on that. They're like, Ann didn't know what that was.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys, like, I watched Rounders back in my college days, and let's just say I was not completely coherent when I was watching that movie. So my memory
You're eating some Oreos.
Yeah, I was probably eating some Oreos. Okay, this is the A&M put you on the spot question, Chris.
Yes.
They want to know. We're not used to saying this, but how big is Amazon's disadvantage in same-day fast delivery without a retail footprint to leverage? And are these smaller same-day facilities the answer?
Ooh, yeah, interesting. I love that question. That's actually, when I read this headline, that was kind of the line of thinking that I was taking. Yeah, because, I mean, flatly, I'd say I don't think it is. Which points to why this story is so interesting to me because, you know, we've spent many a week here over the last few weeks talking about what Amazon's not going to invest in.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about what they are.
Yes.
But then when I get down to it, if I read between the lines of that, it tells me that stores potentially are a real threat to Amazon by way of pickup, quick delivery.
Yeah.
And they're threatening that continued growth trajectory, which is, I think, what A&M is smartly hitting on here. And so when you think about the stalled Amazon Fresh rollout, this feels like more to me like a necessary move at this point to keep your territory in the speed game. But it's not going to unlock a lot of growth when you get down to it, when you think about it in that context. Because honestly, what move does Amazon have at this point other than to do this?
Right.
Physical stores continue to be an abject failure for the most part. Like they've made no traction in the physical retail space at this point. I mean, honestly, like nothing. They failed with one prototype after another.
Maybe Amazon Go convenience. But
maybe. Maybe. But still, that's a small segment here, you know. But yeah, that's a good point. That maybe I give them that.
Yeah.
But, you know, in terms of impacting like large-scale grocery or large-scale mass merchandising or the dollar segment, like it's going to be tough. And so they're going back to what they know, which is speed. But at what point does that cap out when you're going against stores, which offer all these flexible fulfillment types? And the lion's share of the pie is still very much, I don't know, it's kind of out of Amazon's grasp for the, I'm saying this for the first time on this show. Like I look 10 years out, I'm like, Amazon, you're not going to be able to get that.
Yeah.
Without stores.
Yeah.
And so this is your best move, but I think the point A&M's sitting on is dead, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder again, like what's going to end up happening with the Amazon Fresh locations? Like, do those become grocery stores, or are those more of these same day, you know, fulfillment hubs? Like, do they just end up using that? Which I imagine they were going to be leveraging those stores for in some capacity anyway. But I think that maybe makes more sense. You know, my question is, it's only $2.99 for these same day deliveries, and we know how much that costs. The journal goes into it in detail, like how much that actually costs Amazon, and I wonder, just based off of what we've seen them do recently with grocery, where they increased the delivery or added back the delivery fee for grocery, like how long can they keep delivery fees this low? And I think, once that fee increases, which I have to imagine it's going to, because they just have to do that to make operational sense, like, are people going to be compelled to pay $5 for that item? Because you're like, the example they give in the article is like toothbrush heads. Yeah. Like your toothbrush heads, or the one thing that you need today is not going to reach that $25 threshold.
It's not.
So you're going to be paying that fee. It's going to keep increasing. Like, at what point does a person like you or I just say, like, I'm just going to go to Walmart. It's down the street and I don't have to pay for it and I can do it curbside pickup. So I think that if they're gonna keep the cost low, they're just not gonna be able to make the economics of it work. And I think you look at all these retailers. We just did an interview with Incisive about all the fulfillment options kind of coming up available too for people, like pick up at a locker, pick up at the store, have it delivered to you. Like, as that becomes like front and center for the shopping experience for the consumer, I don't know that this idea that Amazon has any like runway to it.
I think you're 100% right. And like what I start thinking about is like, it's another great advertisement for Walmart Plus.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you're not paying those extra fees to do what you're talking about.
Right.
And the other point I make too in closing, like as I was thinking about this for a talk I gave last week too, Amazon's kind of its own worst enemy here. They created the one-click buy thing where like you just get what you want. You're not building bigger baskets on Amazon, to your point. So like, if I'm going to have to pay $2.99 for my toothbrush heads, I'm going to go to Walmart Plus over time. Yeah. Like, or just go to Walmart in general over time. I think you're dead right.
All right, Chris.
All right, Ann. Well, before we get to headline number 4, this is the part of the podcast where, again, we like to tell you about the other great retail conferences we're planning to head to this summer.
Conference Minute.
Be sure to join us at Commerce Next Let's
try it again.
At the Commerce Next e-commerce growth show on June 20th and 21st in New York City. We'll be there live streaming from the show, and you will be able to learn from over 120 industry-leading speakers across more than 50 sessions. Scaled retailers and brands get free admission.
They do.
Just go to commercenext.com/conference and use VIP code FAST5 to register for your complimentary ticket today. You can also check out the link in our show notes to learn more. All right, and headline number 4, Instacart, fresh off last week's Hainan news, and Aldi this week saying that it is also going with DoorDash.
Yep.
As predicted last week, I believe, I think we talked about this on last week's show. We predicted they announced a slew of cool new omnichannel tech solutions. Here's a summary of what those cool solutions are, according to our good friends at Chain Storage. It's kind of crazy that we were talking about this last week, that they were going to do this, and here they do it.
Yeah.
First one, Carrot Ads. Carrot Ads brings Instacart's advertising technology and capabilities to retailers' owned and operated e-commerce sites with monetization options, including revenue share models. Second, FoodStorm, which is Instacart's order management system that it purchased in October 2021 and now supports items sold by weight, including all fresh food and prepared items typically found at deli and meat counters. Surprising that wasn't in there to begin with. Number 3, the Instacart Caper Cart Smart Cart solution, which can now be managed remotely in real time via tablet, giving retailers a remote view of their stores, and is intended to make it easier to see how many carts are being used, what types of items are being shopped, and to flag issues for audit. I know you're going to love that one.
Try not to laugh when you're saying that.
One, I have some thoughts on that one. And finally, Rosie, Instacart's white label e-commerce solution for local independent grocers, which now allows retailers to use Instacart fulfillment services to pick, pack, and deliver orders. And I'm curious your thoughts, but before we get to that, isn't Rosie the name of the robot in the Jetsons?
It sure is.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah. Chris, I have a lot of questions here.
I bet. So do I.
First of all, what is new?
Nothing.
Like, that's, again,
it's
it was
a reskin, 100%.
There is no new information. This is the same thing that we heard pre-grocery shop last year, and with like maybe a few totally random enhancements, like for one, the tablet, like controlling the smart, or having awareness of where the smart carts are within the store with a tablet. I was like, that one to me, I'm just like, so no, where was the data being collected? Like what is happening here? And like, what does a tablet unlock now? Like, are I don't know.
Seems like a stretch.
It seems like a stretch, right? Am I and I'm trying to be like, am I just being overcritical? I don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense. The FoodStorm thing, like, do you remember that? They had it set up at grocery shop.
Yeah.
It was a kiosk. You can't order from your mobile app. They couldn't insert it into the grocer's mobile app at the time.
Yeah.
And so you have to go walk up to a kiosk. And so like now I'm supposed to be impressed that I can order my potato salad from the deli from a kiosk versus like walking right up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I do not understand this. It seems like all fluff. What's happening? What do you think?
I mean, for me, like, and I should say this too, that as we were putting as I was putting my notes together for this, the Wall Street Journal has this article where
I know
Instacart's revenue's up like an insane amount in the last quarter and for 2022, which I can't for the life of me understand. And their source is an internal memo that says this. So God knows what the hell that means. But I mean, I just can't believe we joked about this last week and this actually happened, that they put out a press release like this. We said it was going to happen. They did. And you're right. There's nothing new about it. It's a total reskin. But my personal favorite is the remote monitoring of smart carts. How does that make the list? Like, it's such a reach of desperation. You're right. You're dead right. Why? Here's why. Why would I need to remotely monitor my carts when they're not deployed anywhere to begin with? Like,
I don't know.
That's just so funny. Like, who has the caper carts anyway that they're like, I need to remotely monitor them? That would mean I need to deploy them first. Like, I just can't get that out of my head. So it's literally putting the cart before the cart, Ed.
Yes.
That's the joke here. That's the punchline.
It is, for sure. Like, and the Wall Street Journal thing, like, you and I could be wrong here, and that's what I'm saying. Like, listeners, viewers, if you have some thoughts, please share them with us, because I am baffled. And, maybe they're going to totally blow us out of the water, and you and I are going to look like we have no idea what we're talking about.
I've been wrong
totally
before.
Possible. But I mean, that article in the Wall Street Journal had to come out. Something positive had to come out ahead of this IPO, and that's it. I don't know how much I believe it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep, 100%. And remember, Ann, we were the team that led the robot store of the future when there was not one freaking robot in Target store, despite all the reports in the media.
Yes.
All right, let's close it out.
Let's do headline number 5, Chris. Men's Warehouse is launching a new omnichannel promotion called Prom Your Way, which features a digital hub where consumers can begin their tuxedo fitting process. According again to Chain Store Age, the new solution leverages Snap's magic mirror technology. The mirror uses AR to enable shoppers to try on clothes and accessories before buying them, as well as share imagery with their peers. The fit technology embedded in the mirror enables shoppers to see how clothes will look on them. And said Matt Rapicki, Senior VP Chief Brand Officer of Tailored Brands, quote, Men's Warehouse understands the importance of inclusivity and has made it a pivotal aspect of our campaign. By rolling out the campaign across top social platforms, including YouTube, Snap, and Twitch, we are connecting with the younger audience who are heavily influenced by social media and meeting them where they are, end quote. Chris, what are your thoughts about this?
I have no idea which way you're going to go on this one, honestly. I have no idea, because you surprise me with your fit tech take.
I know.
Your fit tech takes all the time.
I know.
Fit tech takes. I like that. That's cool. I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
First of all, AR is not the same thing as 3D fit. It's not even close.
Right.
So to me, this is nothing better than a marketing hook to try to get more teens into your stores. And could it work with this audience? Yeah, I guess, but I don't see it having a meaningful impact at Men's Warehouse, and I don't see it having a meaningful impact for other people. And to me, it's just, when I get right down to it, and I think, which I think is a good thing to do, we've kind of done it a little bit on the show already, like what are some other analogies that I draw comparisons to? To me, it's like a 3D room builder, like with AR. Like it's no different. I've seen everyone talk about those ad nauseum over the years. They never work. You never get traffic to them. They don't drive the business to any meaningful degree. I'm worried that's the same thing you're going to see here. So
it's just
that's
flair.
my take.
It's just flair. I know. I read this and I'm like, are we just too old for this? Like, are we just not in the, obviously we're years and years and years away from going to prom. So maybe this isn't cool. We're not participating actively on Snap.
The social part's cool, I guess.
The social part is cool. I think that makes sense. Like, but here's what I would be doing. If I were as Men's Warehouse, I think they also describe this as fit technology, which I think, like, you cannot call this fit technology, to your point. It is brilliant. But I think that what I would be seriously investing in here, if I'm Men's Warehouse, is actual fit technology. Like using the phone, allowing people to use their phones to scan their bodies. Because a teenager does not want to go in and wait in line. It's terrible. Like you remember back to the days of prom, you have to wait, you have to get measured, you have to measure your shoe size.
Well,
all
it still
these
doesn't
things.
take that part out of the process, from what I understand.
No,
like,
not
really.
at all.
No,
it's just like the fake VR, which is not even accurate to the actual colors. The actual feel and touch of the fabrics. So I think expedite the process for these kids. Like, make it so that they can honestly go in there and like try a jacket on and leave. Like, you've got everything set up. You're all ready for them to make this seamless experience for them. And then give them the skin. Like, give them the actual thing that they're wearing so that they can use it. Like, whether it's an NFT or a digital skin or whatever social. Yeah, like, give that to them at that point in time so that they can share that with their friends. I think they missed a huge opportunity here to, like, really expedite the process.
Much better idea. And, yeah, I mean, like, I want to make sure my cummerbund fits, Ann.
Oh, God.
I need
Maybe
a good
cummerbunds are coming back. I wouldn't be surprised.
I have no idea.
Mullets and cummerbunds.
I have no idea the latest in tuxedo wear.
Good.
I have no idea whatsoever. All right, let's close this out.
All right, Chris, let's get to the lightning round. TikTok announced this week that it will be imposing time limits for teens after they've been on the app for 60 minutes. What's one thing you do that you should be alerted to after you've been doing it for 60 minutes?
Oh, God, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'm probably on that thing like
game?
an hour and a half a day.
That you play on your phone?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I have played that game every day since 2019, including the day of my stroke. That's how often I've played that game.
Oh, my God.
All right. Twix's latest marketing campaign asks, Ann, what came first? I love this. The cookie or the cookie dough? So which is it, Ann? The cookie or the cookie dough?
I am not high enough to answer this question, Chris.
I thought it was like obvious. I'm like, it's got to be the cookie dough. And then I was like, well, wait, no, the cookie dough is inside. My mind was blown.
What is the cookie dough?
No, but it's not, because the cookie dough is also still a cookie. So like, it's crazy. Like, it's just such a great question. But anyway.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I think you love it.
So
you
awesome.
really liked that one. I was not quite there. Okay, Schnucks is set to open its second Eat Well location next month. The first being connected to an existing Schnucks market so that customers could get their natural food products and the classic favorites like Doritos and the previously mentioned Twix bars in one trip. What food do you find yourself frustrated that you have to make a second trip for when you shop at like a Co-op or a natural food store?
Oh, it's definitely the potato chip aisle. 100%.
Oh,
it's 100%. It's the Ruffles and the Doritos. Yeah, the Ruffles and the Doritos all the time. I have to make a trip all the time for that. All right, of all the headlines, I'm going to change this up a little bit this week. Of all the headlines we covered this week, Ann, which headline won the week? Which one will have the longest long-term impact on the future of retail? What headline won the week?
I have to say the Amazon same-day delivery, because I think if they make $3 instant delivery possible, that's going to be a big issue for any other retailer that tries to do it, because it's not something that many others can sustain like Amazon.
Yeah, that's my pick too. Close second for me would probably be Kohl's, because if they do that, it would be the death of Kohl's too. So.
We're talking about the future of retail, so that would mean that Kohl's has to last beyond into the future of retail if they go forward with that strategy.
Right, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Kind of a big week then when you start to think about the headlines here. Some pretty impactful things. All right, that wraps us up. Happy birthday today to Daniel Craig, Chris Martin, and to the man who told us how Tommy used to work on the dock, John Bon Jovi, who turns, believe it or not, 61 years old. Yeah. Yeah, well, he's looking it.
I would have pegged him for like 70s.
Oh, really? Nah, he's not like as old as my parents, you know?
Okay.
Like, you know,
all right.
He was like high. He was like big in the 80s, not the 70s,
Okay.
you know? So,
fair.
Yeah, so that feels about right. All right, and remember, if you can read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it OmniTalk. Our Fast 5 podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news. And our twice weekly newsletter tells you the top 5 things you need to know each day, and also features special content that is exclusive to us, and we do it all just for you. And we try really hard to make it all fit within the preview pane of your inbox. You can sign up today at www.omnitalk.blog. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. And until next week, and on behalf of all of us at OmniTalk, be careful out there.
The OmniTalk Fast 5 is brought to you in association with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Firework. Firework is the largest video commerce solution built for the world's leading brands. They empower brands with shoppable and live stream video on their own websites where people like to shop. Put your commerce in motion with Firework. You can find out more at firework.com. And SPS Commerce. SPS Commerce is redefining how businesses across the supply chain operate in an omnichannel world. Their experts, tech, and data work together to fuel your growth and deliver for your customers. To find out more, head to spscommerce.com. And Sezzle. Sezzle is an innovative buy now, pay later solution that allows shoppers to split purchases into 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. To learn more, visit Sezzle.com.